Good evening and welcome to Ignite News on 6 at 6. It's Wednesday, June 11th, 2025. I'm Rihanna Nikram. Thanks for joining us. Here are the headlines. Several Guyanese have been deported from the United States. Attorney General Anand Nandlal has shut down attempts to challenge laws which prohibit individuals from running for president. Adriana Youngs to be laid to rest on June 22nd. And no COVID case at West Rumville Primary, says the Ministry of Education. Guyanese nationals living in the United States without legal status are being urged to leave voluntarily as authorities intensify their crackdown on illegal immigration. In an advisory issued yesterday, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs cited a diplomatic note from Washington warning of strict enforcement measures and legal consequences for individuals who remain in the U.S. unlawfully. The move comes as President Donald Trump reinstates several hardline immigration policies. The ministry strongly advised nationals currently residing in the U.S. illegally to depart immediately, noting that those who overstay visas or enter without proper documentation risk arrest, prosecution, imprisonment, or heavy fines. The advisory also stressed that while the U.S. remains open to legal travelers, it will now prioritize enforcement against immigration violations and crimes committed by foreign nationals. Underscoring the shift, several Guyanese nationals were deported this week, arriving at the Cheddi Jagan International Airport yesterday afternoon on a chartered flight carrying deportees to several countries. They were met by immigration officials and members of the Criminal Investigation Department and transported to Georgetown for processing. It is unclear whether they remain in custody. Sources tell Ignite News that more deportations are expected, but details will be shared closer to future arrival dates. The Foreign Ministry is urging all citizens to use only legal channels for migration, work, study, and travel to the United States. Hundreds of people with disabilities have been allocated house lots in recent years as part of a broad push to expand inclusion and uphold the rights of vulnerable populations. This was reaffirmed by First Lady Ari Ali on Tuesday during her speech delivered at the 18th session of the Conference of States Parties to the United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities. The First Lady said Guyana had taken decisive steps to safeguard the rights of persons with disabilities, including in areas such as housing, employment, education, and health care.
A society is judged by how it treats its most vulnerable. Guyana is proud of our efforts as we believe that the most effective way to give true meaning to the convention is through education, empowerment, and engagement. These are the pillars upon which we will continue to build a future where the rights of all persons with disabilities are realized.
In addition to the distribution of house lots, Guyana's Men on a Mission initiative has built homes and provided construction materials for people with disabilities. The First Lady highlighted several ongoing initiatives, including the launch of the Center for Equity, Opportunity, and Innovation, which currently employs scores of persons with disabilities and provides technical, vocational, and business development training. The government has also implemented inclusive schooling, free assistive devices, and health care, as well as lifelong public assistance for people with permanent disabilities. Guyana's commitment is guided by national legislation, such as the Persons with Disabilities Act, and reinforced by its low-carbon development strategy. The National Commission on Disability serves as the main oversight body for promoting and protecting the rights of persons with disabilities. Minister of Legal Affairs and Attorney General Anand Nandlal has denied being the legal advisor to the Ghana Elections Commission, GCOM, amid recent claims questioning his involvement with the electoral management body. Speaking on these issues in the news program on Tuesday, Nandlal said the Attorney General's chambers has historically offered legal opinions to state agencies, but only upon request.
The Attorney General is not the legal advisor of GCOM. Neither has the Attorney General ever held himself out to be the legal advisor of GCOM. The Attorney General is the most senior legal officer of the state of Guyana and is the legal representative of the state of Guyana. He is also the principal legal advisor of the government of Guyana. And in those many capacities, agencies of state has always historically sought the legal opinion of the Attorney General.
He emphasized that such requests, including those from GCOM, have been routine for decades and that the Chambers has never declined a solicitation for legal input. According to Nandlal, this tradition was maintained even under the previous administration. Between 2015 and 2020, he noted, both opposition-nominated GCOM commissioners and the commission itself sought guidance from the AG's office, including during the 2020 election impasse. He added during that period, AG Chambers provided legal input on the recount order, which was signed by then-opposition leader Bar Jagdeo and then-President David Granger. Nandlal said his office was recently asked to offer legal clarification on legislation that it had helped draft. He stressed that this was consistent with GCOM's past interactions with the AG's chambers.
The GCOM chair, acting on behalf of the Commission, wrote to the Attorney General, sought certain clarifications and his opinion on some of the recent amendments to the National Registration Act and the Representation of the People Act. And the Office of the Attorney General offered the opinion and the legal guidance.
His comments come in response to Alliance for Change leader Nigel Hughes, who accused the AG of improperly inserting himself in GCOM's affairs. Hughes described the legal input at this stage, given a stated date for upcoming elections, and Nandlal's political role in the People's Progressive Party as a clear conflict of interest. Residents of remote riverine communities in Region 1 will have improved access to health care and essential services with the commissioning of 3 new boats and engines. The vessels were officially commissioned yesterday during a ceremony in Kumaka, led by Housing and Water Minister Colin Crowell. He was joined by Regional Chairman Brenton Ashley, Deputy Regional Executive Officer Shem Coffey, and other officials. 2 of the boats have been assigned to the Regional Health Department to strengthen healthcare delivery in the Mabaruma and Martakai subregions. 1 vessel, equipped with a 150 horsepower engine and valued at $7.4 million, was procured through the Ministry of Health's 2024 budget. The second, costing $5.1 million with a 75 horsepower engine, was funded under the 2024 budget of the Regional Democratic Council. Minister Crowell said the boats will support emergency medical services, outreach programs, and the timely delivery of medications and supplies to interior villages. They will also allow medical teams to conduct routine health checks, including dental services, without requiring patients to travel long distances to clinics. The third vessel, valued at $7.6 million and powered by a 200 horsepower engine, was also funded by the region. It will be used for administrative operations. We'll be right back with more Ignite News after these messages.
The ExxonMobil Guyana Global Super League is back and it's bigger than ever. Defending champions, Rangpur Riders return to defend their crown, but the Warriors, the proud hosts, are ready to battle on home soil. The best from Australia, New Zealand, and the UAE join the fight for global glory. The ultimate test, the ultimate prize. It's the clash of the T20 champions. Get your tickets now at Warriors Box Office or GSLT20.com.
Welcome back to Ignite News on 6 at 6. The Customs Anti-Narcotic Unit, CANKU, has clarified that a recent cocaine bust in Canada involving narcotics hidden in footwear did not originate from Guyana. In a statement issued this morning, CANKU said that the passenger in question boarded Caribbean Airlines flight BW616 in Trinidad as an in-transit passenger, with Canada as his final destination. Immigration records indicate that the passenger did not disembark the flight when it landed in Guyana, the release stated. The clarification comes after the Canada Border Services Agency, CBSA, reported that on May 26, its officers at Toronto's Pearson International Airport seized over 3.5 kilograms of cocaine hidden in luggage. The cocaine was discovered using contraband detection technology. The estimated street value of the drugs is more than $437,000. The CBSA initially said the traveler had arrived from Guyana, but CANKU has rejected any direct link, insisting that the passenger never entered Guyana during the flight's transit stop. A CBSA spokesperson told CTV News Toronto that the agency could not disclose the traveler's citizenship due to privacy laws protecting individual immigration records. Attorney General Anil Nandlal has dismissed attempts to challenge laws governing the conduct of elections in Guyana. Speaking on his Tuesday program, Issues in the News, Nandal revealed that he has received credible information, indicating that 2 legal challenges have been filed in the High Court by surrogates of a presidential hopeful. According to him, the challenge seeks to invalidate the electoral process and sections of the Representation of the People Act, ROPA, in an effort to allow this individual to contest the 2025 elections without being part of a list. Nandal explained that Ghana operates under a proportional representation (PR) electoral system, which requires that all election contestants be part of a submitted list. He believes the presidential hopeful fears that without securing or joining a list for submission to the Ghana Elections Commission (GCOM), he may be barred from contesting the 2025 elections, as the presidential candidate must come from the list submitted to GCOM.
That is what is set out in 160 of the Constitution, that you can go to the elections, individuals can contest, but you must be part of a list. And the list is what the voters will vote for. And the head of that list that receives the most votes shall be deemed the president.
The Attorney General noted that the PR system is enshrined in Guyana's constitution, while ROPA and the National Registration Act detail that the electoral processes established by the constitutional framework. Before adopting the PR system, Ghana used the first past-the-post electoral system from 1953 to 1964, until public demand prompted the change.
We have had this system since 1964. Reckon how many decades. And then we went through some changes in 1999 and 2000. We went through some changes in 1980 as well, when we got a different constitution. You know how many decades have passed? From 2000 to now, we passed almost 4 elections without any challenge. Now, someone is awoken from some slumber who has a lot of money to play around with, so appointed surrogate litigants to file proceedings in the court to challenge the electoral system a few months before the elections.
To now challenge the Constitution, Nandal stated, in the event that the candidate is unable to meet the list requirement, is clearing a fishing expedition. Nearly 2 months after her tragic death, Adriana Youngs will be laid to rest on Sunday, June 22nd. The 11-year-old, whose death at a hotel pool sparked national outrage, was originally scheduled for burial on May 5th, but her funeral was postponed at the family's request for further investigation. This investigation included a second autopsy in Atlanta, USA. Adriana was found dead on April 24th in the swimming pool of the Doubleday Hotel on the east bank of Essequibo. She had been there with her grandmother and other relatives. The case drew widespread attention after police initially claimed Adriana had left the hotel in a car, a statement later proven false. That misinformation led to the administrative leave of Divisional Commander Khalid Mandlal and the removal of 2 other officers from duty. According to the family, hotel staff refused to let them search the premises in the immediate aftermath of the child's disappearance, saying the area was under police control. The hotel owner, Bojnat Bola, and several employees were detained for questioning, but later released. A toxicology report found no abnormalities, and DNA samples have been sent abroad for further testing. An autopsy conducted locally by overseas pathologists concluded that Adriana died by drowning, while the second autopsy conducted in Atlanta found that the first was competent. The Ministry of Education has completed the 2025 distribution of the Because We Care Cash Grant Initiative, with follow-up efforts now underway to reach parents and guardians who are unable to collect the grant during the regular distribution period. Information on mop-up dates has been shared via the Ministry's social media platforms. This year, over 205,000 students benefited from the initiative, which dispersed approximately $11.28 billion across all 11 education districts and Georgetown. Each eligible student received a total of $55,000, which included both the Because We Care Cash Grant and the School Uniform and Supplies Grant. The funds aim to support students' full participation in education by easing financial burdens on families. Georgetown accounted for the highest single distribution total, with $2.1 billion reaching the parents of 38,284 students. Region 3, Essequibo Islands West Demerara, recorded the third largest disbursement, with over $1.53 billion with 27,830 students, while Region 6 received $1.26 billion for 23,023 students. Other notable allocations included Region 4C, East Coast Demerara, with $1.23 billion for 22,465 students, and Region 4B, East Bank Demerara, with $1.07 billion for 19,461 students. Smaller yet significant distributions were made to Regions 1, 2, 5, 7, 8, 9, and 10, reflecting the government's commitment to equitable education support across the country. More Ignite News after these messages.
Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Fuel it up and drive, Super 95. Tune up. Protect your fuel system, boy. High mileage and performance, boy.
Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline gives you more reasons to drive and is available at 56 service stations nationwide. For affordable price, high performance, and high mileage, choose Guy Oil's Super 95 gasoline.
Fuel it up and drive.
You're watching Ignite News on 6 at 6. More than 100 residents of Bryan Sucre Junction in Region 8 now have reliable access to clean water following the commissioning of a new $35 million water supply system. The project was officially inaugurated by Minister within the Ministry of Housing and Water, Suzanne Rodriguez, and marks a major step forward in the government's commitment to upgrading public utilities in hinterland communities. Executed by Mohammed Excavation and Construction and Q&A Civil Works, the initiative included drilling a potable water well, installing a solar-powered pumping system, constructing elevated metal trestles, laying a pipe distribution network, and connecting homes directly to the system. Previously, residents had to rely on rainwater or a spring, both of which were unreliable, especially during dry seasons, according to the Department of Public Information. This development is part of a wider plan to improve water access across Region 8. Since 2021, over $1 billion has been invested in water infrastructure in the region, leading to the construction of more than 15 new wells. Nationwide, the government has invested over $5.5 billion in the last 5 years to improve water access in hinterland areas, with an additional $2 billion budgeted for 2025. The ultimate goal: 100% access to safe, potable water in these communities by year-end 2025. The Ministry of Education has firmly denied recent media reports claiming that 3 grade 5 students at West Rumbelt Primary School tested positive for COVID-19, and that the ministry failed to act on requests for fumigation or health protocols. In a statement today, the ministry labeled the report false and misleading, citing direct confirmation from the school's head teacher that no COVID-19 cases have been reported among students or staff. It also confirmed that no illness-related concerns were submitted to the Department of Education or the ministry. The ministry condemned the spread of misinformation, saying it only serves to create unnecessary panic and undermines public trust in the education system. It reaffirmed its commitment to the health and safety of students and staff, knowing that strict monitoring protocols are in place nationwide. These include collaboration with the Ministry of Health for any suspected illnesses, regular sanitation of facilities, and swift, transparent action when required. The ministry urged media outlets to fact-check information before publication, stressing that responsible reporting is crucial to public interest. Parents and guardians are encouraged to contact the regional education offices directly with any concerns or for clarification. A major success is unfolding in Guyana's healthcare system. More and more nurses are expressing a desire to return home. Thanks to sweeping reforms by the government, the nursing profession is once again being seen as a respected and rewarding career in Guyana. This is according to President Dr. Irfan Ali, who was at the time speaking at the commissioning of a major healthcare facility on the east bank of Demerara.
Many nurses, they see me and they compare. I was in Bahamas and I met a lot of Guyanese nurses there. And when they calculate their propensity to save, their ability to save there and here, they are beginning to make that shift to come back in our system.
This renewed confidence stems from meaningful investment. Nurses have seen salary increases of more than 46% over the past 4 years, in addition to special vouchers and financial bonuses tailored to frontline workers. But it's not just about salaries, it's about creating a supportive environment. Nurses are now working in better facilities with access to new technologies and improved resources.
We want our healthcare professionals to be supported with technology to make their job more efficient.
What's more, Guyanese nurses returning home can now look forward to better living conditions. Affordable housing, reliable roads, and cheap electricity are all part of a wider national vision.
It is only going to get better. Salaries, your welfare, your work condition, your benefits is only going to get better under the People's Progressive Party civic government.
With these efforts, Guyana, the president said, is not just rebuilding its healthcare system, but welcoming its nurses back with pride, purpose, and promise. In sports, the Ravens Basketball Club wrapped up an impressive campaign at the Creole Basketball Festival, finishing as runners-up after a hard-fought 87-73 loss to GCB of Guadeloupe in the Northern Division Championship on Monday night. After dominant victories over Dominica's Detroit Blazers and USR Basketball Club, the Guyanese team advanced to the final and led by 8 at halftime. However, JCB mounted a determined second-half comeback. Point guard Shamar Huntley led the Ravens with 23 points before briefly exiting due to injury. He returned to close a third-quarter deficit, but GCB capitalized on key defensive lapses and foul trouble to pull away in the fourth quarter. Despite the loss, Coach Marlon Rodriguez praised his squad's effort and professionalism, calling the 2-1 tournament record a testament to the team's growing reputation on the regional stage. With their strong performance, the Ravens remained in contention for a place in the prestigious King of Kings tournament, set for Guadeloupe this August. Australia's Steve Smith has broken the record for the most test runs by visiting battered Lord's Cricket Ground. The milestone came on the opening day of the World Test Championship WTC final against South Africa. Smith surpassed fellow Australian Warren Bradley's record of 575 runs at the iconic venue, cementing his place in Lord's history. During his composed half-century, the 36-year-old also edged past the legendary Don Bradman, who scored 551 runs in 8 innings at the ground. Smith now has 3 50s and 2 centuries at Lord's, including a career-best 215 during the second Ashes Test in 2015. His 66-run knock was vital in stabilizing Australia's innings after they stumbled to 67 for 4, following early breakthroughs by South African pacers Kagiso Rabada and Marco Johnson. Smith shared a 79-run stand with all-rounder Bill Webster before part-time spinner Aidan Markram dismissed him, ending an innings of grit and precision. More Ignite News after these messages. You're watching Ignite News on 6 at 6. Regionally, in Trinidad and Tobago, a yellow-level adverse weather event caused flooding in some areas, an increase in river levels, fallen trees, landslips, and fires. The event caused rain showers, isolated thunderstorm activity, and associated gusts. According to Trinidad and Tobago Newsday, in an incident report on June 10th, the Ministry of Rural Development and Local Government said there were 4 flooding events and 5 fallen trees. A fallen tree in the vicinity of Damien Bay rendered the road impassable. There was also a fire and several landslides, including a partial collapse of the main road in Aripo and a major landslip in the Pool Village area. Rural Development and Local Government Minister Khadija Amin said many of these landslips had been occurring incrementally and were made worse by the rain. In international news, a federal appeals court has allowed Donald Trump's sweeping tariffs to remain in place for now. U.S. Court of Appeals for the Federal Circuit in Washington, D.C. passed a lower court ruling that found Trump had overstepped his authority by imposing tariffs on their emergency powers. The court called the case exceptionally important and set a rare full court hearing for July 31st. At stake are the President's Liberation Day tariffs on most U.S. trading partners, along with separate duties on imports from Canada, China, and Mexico. These duties U.S. trade leverage have disrupted markets and supply chains. The lower court had ruled that only Congress can impose tariffs and said Trump wrongfully invoked the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, legislation intended for national security threats. The pause means the tariffs stay in effect while the appeal proceeds. Tariffs imposed under other laws, such as those on steel and aluminum, are unaffected. Britain, Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and Norway have jointly imposed sanctions on two far-right Israeli government ministers for allegedly inciting extremist violence against Palestinians in the occupied West Bank. This move by Western allies of Israel marks a rare public rebuke of Israel's settlement policies and the recent surge in settler violence since Hamas' October 7, 2023 attack triggered the Gaza war. The ministers targeted a National Security Minister, Itamar Ben-Gvir, and Finance Minister, Bezalel Smotrich, key members of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's coalition, known for supporting Israeli settlements and advocating for continued conflict in Gaza, including the forced displacement of Palestinians. The sanctions could include asset freezes and travel bans. In a joint statement, the five countries' foreign ministers condemned Ben-Gvir and Smotrich for inciting extremist violence and serious abuses of Palestinian human rights. They described calls for forced displacement and new settlements as appalling and dangerous. UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy said the ministers have been inciting violence against Palestinian people for months and encouraging egregious abuses of human rights. Canadian Foreign Minister Anita Anand emphasized that the sanctions target individuals directly contributing to extremist settler violence and are not directed against the State of Israel. New Zealand's Foreign Minister Winston Peters added the two have severely and deliberately undermined peace prospects by inciting violence and forced displacement. He stressed the sanctions are not against the Israeli people or the broader government, acknowledging the suffering Israel has faced since October 7th. And that's all for this edition of Ignite News on 6 at 6. For more stories, visit ignitenews.com or follow us on social media. Thanks for watching. I'm Rihanna Nikram. See you tomorrow for more Ignite News.